Is there a moral equivalence between the IDF and Hamas? Check out this clip on the Piers Morgan show where you have two debaters, and one of the debaters cannot even bring herself to condemn what Hamas did on October 7th, what Hamas does in general, and she repeatedly, time after time, questioned about it. She just whitewashes it and says, I cannot comment, I will refuse to comment, I'm not giving my obligatory comment. It's absolutely obnoxious and insane. Take a look at this clip. You're not going to want to miss it, but before you do, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. You're not going to want to miss this. Check this out.
Look, what precipitated even the origin of Hamas? Hamas didn't just grow out of thin air. I mean, it was precipitated by
but what about my question, though?
Decades of brutal occupation and ethnic cleansing.
Yeah, but what about my question?
The question whether or not Hamas is genocidal in its intent, I disagree. And Emily's saying, look, Hamas is reacting. They're an armed resistance group trying to fight for their liberation.
I'm not justifying anything that they've
done. The United States also called Nelson Mandela and the ANC a terrorist organization. I think they're an armed resistance group trying to fight for the liberation of Palestine.
Do you think they're
a terrorist organization? I'm not going to sit here and give an obligatory... Do you think Israel's a terrorist organization,
Of course
Emily?
not.
Do you think Israel's a terrorist organization?
Of course not. Can you answer my question? Do you think Hamas is a terrorist organization?
I already did.
Let
me explain something to you.
Do you think that the acts committed on October 7th were legitimate? You think that gang rape, that
mass rape,
acts
that Israel
sexual violence
did that
is a method of war?
Hang on, look.
Do you think October 6th, 5th, 4th, 8th, 9th,
let me ask you the question which has made me infamous, famous, whatever you want to do. But do you condemn Hamas for what they did on October the 7th?
I'm not going to sit here and give an obligatory condemnation of Hamas.
It was a terrorist attack of appalling magnitude.
Of what I think...
Surely on pure humanity grounds.
Piers, listen.
You cannot watch the devastating murder of 1,200 people and not say it was a despicable terror act and condemn the people who did it.
Look, listen, I'm not going to give an obligatory condemnation of Hamas. What I will do is condemn the policies that precipitate violence. What I will do is condemn the roots of the violence, because inevitably, you will have blowback when you deny millions of people basic human rights, when they're living under brutal medieval siege and barbaric military occupation, a fascist military occupation in the West Bank. Hamas doesn't govern the West Bank. Look at what Israel has done in the West Bank since October 7th.
You can't condemn Hamas for what they did on October the 7th.
This is not about Hamas.
Well, it's all about Hamas.
I condemn what will beget violence inevitably.
What are you talking
I'm not going to
about?
sit here and condemn Hamas.
The entire war.
I'm sorry?
This entire war has been because of what Hamas did on October the 7th. You could go back in history.
Absolutely not.
You can go back in history
Piers,
and you can find arguments on both sides in the last 70 years. Right, I've had the arguments many times.
No, because
you cannot
see,
dispute
what you're doing is...
What am I doing?
What you're doing is conflating and pretending like there are two equal sides. Oh, they've just been fighting for decades. There's always reasons on both sides to start the violence. No, that's not true. There's one side that's an occupying, colonizing force that continuously and violently expels and subjugates and brutalizes and terrorizes the other side. They are living under the boot of Israeli authorities, whether you're in Gaza and occupied completely militarily by the outside, or whether you're living under a fascist military dictatorship in the West Bank.
So do you, if
that
you believe,
is the root
so if you
of the
believe,
violence.
Okay, so
that is the root of the violence.
Let me ask you this.
75 years
let me
of
ask you
ethnic
this,
cleansing and
Abby. All right,
apartheid.
I hear you. Let me ask you this. If you believe then that Hamas are a armed resistance, as you put it, and they have, presumably then you believe what they did on October the 7th was justified, do you?
I didn't say that. No, absolutely
well,
not.
Wouldn't that be
I'm not sitting here justifying anything.
Isn't the logical extension of your argument, if you believe they're an armed resistance and they are, they are doing what they're doing because they are responding to acts of terror by another side, surely you would say that what they did was justified. Or if it's not justified, what is it? You either condemn it or you think it's justified. I don't think you can sit in the middle, can you?
Look, I don't need to sit here and give a condemnation of Hamas. I can explain why Hamas exists. I don't have to support what they did. I don't have to justify or rationalize it.
Yes, so silence in the face of rape as a
person who studies history
is complicity.
You can sit as a person who studies history. Emily, you're doing the exact same thing and you're projecting it on me. Okay, so do you condemn the actions of Israel for killing 13,000 children?
I don't accept that 13,000 children have been killed. That hasn't
okay,
that isn't anything that's been verified.
This is the problem.
But it depends on the context of what's happening. Do I condemn certain actions of the state of Israel?
Palestinians their reality.
Do I think Israel is always right?
You're denying Palestinians their reality. This is why Palestinians have to show their dead kids on camera.
Do I think everything Israel has done, even in this war, is correct? No. There's no problem with saying that.
What has been wrong? What have they done?
I already said the same thing about Hamas.
Hang on, Abby.
I already said the same thing about Hamas.
Emily, tell me what Israel's done that's wrong in your eyes.
I think that should have been a priority from the beginning in order to plan a safe evacuation route before they implemented a military plan. I think that everything has been done too late.
Okay. Abby, what would you say Hamas have done wrong?
Again, I'm not going to sit up here. I don't even know really what happened.
You can't find anything.
How hard is it to condemn rape?
You can't find anything to say they did that was wrong?
All of the lies that have been perpetrated. Look, Hamas killing civilians, atrocities were committed on both sides on October 7th. I'm sure that
October 7th, atrocities were committed.
I don't know.
I
don't know how many civilians were killed by Israel. Emily, I can't even hear myself talk because you just can't stop talking.
Let Abby speak.
There's so many lies that were put out by Israeli authorities that it's really hard to parse through. Look, I mean, we don't know how many civilians were killed in the crossfire by Israeli soldiers enlisting the Hannibal Directive. So, look, the mass rape, the beheaded babies, the ripping the babies out of pregnant women's stomachs. I mean, all of these things are such egregious lies that I really just can't sit up here and condemn things that I don't even know what happened.
What about the atrocities which Hamas recorded and filmed themselves and then posted to the world to brazenly boast about what they were doing? What about that?
Look, nothing that Hamas did on October 7th compares to what Israel has done in response.
No, I'm asking you a direct question about the fact that they boasted about the mass murder they were committing.
You guys just make it all about October 7th, and that's what I'm saying. It all pales in comparison, Pierce.
But if you can't condemn anything Hamas has done,
that happened, I already said.
You haven't condemned them.
Killing civilians is wrong.
So what
Killing
they did,
civilians is wrong.
So what Hamas did on October 7th was wrong.
So what does that make what Israel has done?
Hang on, I'm trying to unpick your argument. So if it's wrong to kill civilians, were Hamas wrong to do what they did on October the 7th, given how many civilians were brutally murdered?
Are you doing the same thing to Emily? And if not,
just asking, do you think it was wrong?
Why are you not sitting her
do you
and
think
picking
it was
apart?
Wrong?
Is it wrong to kill 13,000
Why can't you answer a simple question?
Is it wrong to kill 100? I already said it. I already said it, Pierce.
Was it wrong?
I'm not going to sit here. You're basically comparing Hamas to Israel.
No, I'm not comparing anything. You
really
said just now,
yes,
unless I'm mistaken, you just said to me that the killing of innocent civilians is wrong. I then asked you, fairly self-evidently, I think, the question, in that case, given that Hamas showed us on tape them killing civilians, innocent civilians, on October the 7th, do you accept that was wrong? Yes or no?
You saw the tape?
Yeah, they showed us.
You saw the tape of them killing innocent civilians?
Yes, they literally broadcast it to the world. Yes, we all did.
And so do Israeli soldiers.
Fine,
in a
why can't you
fashion.
forget Israel for a moment?
It's like watching.
Forget Israel for a moment.
It's like watching Nazis.
If it's wrong to kill innocent civilians, Abby,
on social media.
If it's wrong to kill innocent civilians, I'll ask you one more time. You haven't got to answer. Up to you. But viewers are watching this and they know you haven't answered. You think it's wrong to kill innocent civilians?
I already answered. I think it's wrong to kill innocent civilians.
So what Hamas did was wrong?
She's not going to answer.
Well, let her answer if she wants to. Last time, I'm going to ask it. So.
I already told you I'm not going to sit here and condemn what Hamas did.
Right.
I understand why, and I don't have to agree with what Hamas did, right? To understand why
that wasn't my question. I just asked you whether the mass murder perpetrated on October 7th was wrong.
To understand why there's blowback for horrific policies of apartheid and ethnic cleansing. There's obviously inevitably going to be blowback and violence from those policies. Yes, absolutely, it was blowback.
Right, but was it wrong?
100%.
Was it wrong?
I'm not. Look, I don't know how much you want to just go around the mulberry bush like this.
I think it's a fairly straightforward question. I don't see how anyone can come on a show like this.
What Israel is doing
how
is
can
wrong.
you take part in a debate like this and say killing innocent civilians is wrong, but I'm not going to tell you what Hamas did on October 7th was wrong? It makes no sense, Abby. No sense.
I'm not going to sit here and condemn Hamas.
I'm sorry, that was obnoxious and insane. To equate Israel killing civilians as collateral damage when they're going in to kill Hamas members who perpetrated October 7th, if you're equating that with Hamas members that purposely went in on October 7th to kill civilians, to videotape themselves doing it, to have these people from Gaza calling their parents and saying, look, Dad, put mom on the phone, mom, put dad on the phone. I've killed 10 Jews with my bare hands. Look, you'd be so proud of your son. To equate those two ideologies, in Hamas's charter, it wants the destruction of Israel, wants to kill Jews worldwide. That is the charter. That is their MO. That's what they do. That's the stated goal. To equate that with innocent civilians, unfortunately, being killed in collateral damage in trying to kill Hamas, that to make that sort of moral equivalency is patently insane. Of course, innocent civilians dying in Gaza is a sad thing, but the responsibility of who bears the responsibility of those deaths, it is Hamas. The war could end today. Hamas needs to give back the hostages. Hamas needs to surrender their leadership in the region. Goodness gracious. If you like this content overall, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Take care.